Welcome back to Jeffro's Game Room, and today I'm going to share a little bit of a guide for the ShareFactory. Basically, I use the ShareFactory to make all of my thumbnails. In the beginning of my channel, you'll notice there thumbnails aren't the best, but they gradually improve as time goes on, and my skills and abilities with the ShareFactory improve, the thumbnails also improve. So the basic idea is to basically share a little bit of what I know to maybe help you guys improve your thumbnails. A little bit of a disclaimer, I'm not claiming to be the best in the world at this. My skills improve day to day. As you can see here, this is my most recent thumbnail. But the idea is just to maybe help you guys a little bit and improve your abilities. And I got a new channel banner, courtesy of Driftwood. You should be sure to check his channel out. He's got great content. But we'll go ahead and get started here. One of the websites that I use, as per Driftwood's recommendation, is cooltext.com. And basically, when it comes to text, or maybe even making a logo, you can pretty much find anything you might want in regards to text, whether it be the style of text or color or anything to that effect. Me personally, I like the pixelated text. I like using that in a lot of my videos, but we'll try a few different things just for the interest of this video. Now, I'm sure there are other options out there. The internet is quite vast from what I've heard, so you may find another website that may be more useful to you, but this is just the one that I use and the one that I recommend. So if you're not familiar with it, be sure to check it out. Now, once you've found the text that you'd like to use, you can also mess with other things like the colors here. Me personally, not a big pink and purple guy, so we'll go ahead and change these colors to red and green. And I found the red can be hard to pinpoint on this particular website. So it's a little bit of trial and error. Mess around with the colors, find out exactly what you like or want. And after you've done that, you can go ahead and type in what you like your text to be. And from there, you can mess around with the size of the text. And after you've determined what size you'd like, you can go ahead and save image as. And you'll notice below the file name it says PNG image, and that's important. If you're trying to save an image that has transparency and it doesn't show up as a PNG, then it's most likely not going to work, and I will show examples of that later on in the video. Moving on to our next bit of text, we've stuck with the same font, but we have chosen a different color scheme. And with this particular one, it allows you to not only change the colors, but pick the color gradients, which adds another layer of options. Okay, we've decided what we wanted that text to be, and we have adjusted the size, so we'll go ahead and do the same. Save image as. And with the first image that I saved, I didn't mention where to save it, and I'll show you right here. You want to be saving it on a USB, in a file named ShareFactory, and once you're in the ShareFactory folder, you want another folder that is named images, and these file names are important, otherwise you won't be able to upload these images to your PS4, which is where we want to use them, of course. As you can see, I have many other images that I've saved for other thumbnails or other projects, but we just go in and make sure that we have the ones that we just made saved, and they are there, so we're good to go. And you'll notice when they're in the save file folder, the transparency is supported, so you will know whether or not the transparency is going to work simply from the file folder that it is saved in. Alright, we'll go ahead and grab our last little bit of text that we're going to use for our thumbnail. We're going to choose a different font. And of course, if you guys like this video, please comment, like, and subscribe. It'll help me lots. Hopefully allow the video to reach a wider audience. Okay, we've got all the text that we're going to be using for the thumbnail, and like I mentioned a little bit earlier in the video, make sure you're saving to a folder called ShareFactory and then images. And if you're doing video, you're going to want a folder called videos, of course. And you can also upload music as well in MP3 format, so if that's something you also want to do, just make another folder called music and you're set. Moving along to the next step of the process, we're going to head over to Google search because we want to find some PNG overlays, and this one in particular we're just going to use as an example. I play quite a bit of GT Sport on the channel. If you haven't checked any of it out, be sure to check that out. But you can always search the relevant game of choice and usually find what you need. But when it comes to resolution here, minimum resolution must be 64 by 64 and maximum resolution is 1280 by 720. And we want to make sure that it says PNG image in the file format, and we can save it under whatever file name we wish. Go ahead and save it, and after it's saved, we want to check it in the folder and make sure the transparency is working. And as you can see, it is working. Always good to double check. You don't want to be doing this multiple times, not realizing you grabbed an image that ain't gonna work. As for an image that isn't gonna work, I use this one as an example, and this is just one scenario that will indicate to you that the image isn't going to work. So we go ahead and save it, and we go and check it, and you can see the checkered background, which usually indicates transparency, is still there. So that indicates to me that it's not going to work. So we just go ahead and delete it. Next, we're looking for a thumbs up PNG, and like I mentioned before, pretty much anything that you can think of, you can pretty well find it in a PNG that supports transparency. But it still oftentimes is going to end up being a little bit of a trial and error, because like I showed to you in the previous image that we saved, one of them didn't work, even though it was indicated as a PNG file. And here's another example. So it has a checkerboarding transparency, but in the file format it says that it's a JPEG, and that indicates to me that for sure is not going to work, so we don't even bother saving it. This one I think is a similar scenario to the Gran Turismo 4 overlay, where the checkerboard background stuck around, and as a result also not usable. So go ahead and delete that one as well. Eventually though, with some persistence, you will find something to your liking that will work. Like I mentioned before, be sure to double check in your save file that the transparency is good. Alright, moving on from the main menu of the ShareFactory, you want to go to Upload Images and then Import from USB. And once you do that, occasionally you'll get some things that will pop up that aren't supported, and that's usually a resolution issue. But as you can see here, we do have everything that we made on the PC, and we'll just go ahead and check mark it and upload it. And once we've uploaded it, it's free to use in whatever project you want to use it in, as long as you keep it on the console. And we'll go ahead and move on to the actual thumbnail making process. Alright, so to start I used one of the ShareFactory themes because I'll need the ShareFactory logo for my thumbnail, and I used a image that they provided as kind of a stand-in for the background. It won't be the actual image that ends up being used for the thumbnail, but you'll see at the end of the video, so be sure to stick around. We want to start with adding the overlays that we made. We'll start with how to make, and once you have it in the actual editor, you can use the transform function to make it larger, move it around, align it either to one side or the other or in the middle. Once you decide where you like to have it, you just hit X and it will be locked in place, and you can always go back and make changes. The next one, go ahead and put that just below how to make. Because of course we are trying to share the best way to use the ShareFactory, I guess. And I hope so far anybody that's watching is finding this useful. As for the ShareFactory itself and all of its functions, you will kind of have to get into the actual application, start messing around with all the finer details. But they also provide quite a bit of stickers, which I often don't use. I prefer to upload my own, but like I mentioned earlier, the main reason for using the ShareFactory theme is because of the ShareFactory logo. I probably could have gone on, Google and done the same thing with like the GT Sport logo and found a PNG and uploaded it, but it's already provided, so why not use it, right? It just makes the process a little bit easier. And we go ahead and add our last little bit of text. And like I mentioned earlier in the video, if you do find this video useful, please comment, like, and subscribe. If you have any questions that maybe, something I missed, go ahead and leave it in the comments. And I'll do my best to answer any questions or concerns you may have. And last but not least, we'll go ahead and add a thumbs up in the corner here for good measure. And I'm sure you guys can imagine, you can get pretty creative with this. This is not how I would usually do my thumbnails. This is just using as an example, I guess you can say. But once you've figured out your style and you've made your thumbnail, you can go ahead and save it and render it out to your photo gallery, and from there you can upload it to a USB or use it in a video project, and you can also do it in both PNG or JPEG. I will often save it in both formats, and then if I'm able to use the PNG, I will. That's just YouTube has a 2 megabyte limit on the thumbnails, so oftentimes a PNG will exceed that. And after you've done your project, you want to make sure to save it, because then you can go back and make subtle changes. Maybe there's something you didn't like about it. In this case, I'll be changing the background image, which is just a screenshot of my channel, an assortment of all my thumbnails that I've done as of recently. Okay, we are done making our thumbnail. I hope you guys found this thumbnail making guide useful. If you did, let me know down below. If you have any questions, let me know down below. If you're not already subscribed, please subscribe. And if you can hit that like button, maybe this video can reach other people a little easier. So, have a great day, guys. Hope you enjoyed.